Hello guys, welcome to the fiction series. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto got harem with Tia, Nell, Soi Fon, Yoruichi. Part 1. Huge shout out to the first Kitsukage for this story. If you want more awesome fan fiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So without wasting any time, let's get into the video. That is what Naruto thought as he looked down at his body. Sasuke standing over it. I told you dope I needed to kill you for power, but don't worry, I'll make good use of my eyes now. Just then Sasuke was knocked out by Kakashi. With a chop to the back of his neck. I'm too late. Kakashi leaned down to Naruto's body. I'm sorry Naruto, but I know you fought with all your heart. I'll bring him home. Naruto-sensei, I'm sorry. Kakashi took Sasuke and Naruto's body back to the village. A few hours later Kakashi made it to the gate. Waiting for him were Hinata, Sakura, Ino, Tenten, Tsunade and a few others. Sakura and Ino had been waiting for their love of their life. The asshole Sasuke. Tenten had been waiting with Hinata. Being at least on better terms with her than the other two fangirls. Although, Hinata was a fangirl, but she was Naruto's fangirl, but was nowhere as weak as one. And Tsunade was waiting for her little brother. When Kakashi landed in front of them, he had a broken and sad look on his face. Like he didn't want to be there. Sasuke. Sasuke is back. Sakura and Ino yelled. Tsunade rushed over to Kakashi as did the other four girls. Take this traitor to the hospital and make sure he has 24-hour Anbu guard. Kakashi ordered. Tsunade nodded. Seeing as how she was going to say the same thing. An Anbu landed next to Kakashi and took Sasuke to the hospital. Kakashi-sensei, don't say that to Sasuke. He's back and… Shut up Sakura. Kakashi yelled at the pink-haired little girl. Tsunade gasped at the bloody body that Kakashi was carrying. Hinata began to tear up, as did Tenten. No. Tsunade fell to her knees. I'm sorry Lady Tsunade, I was too late, I couldn't save him. Kakashi lone eye leaked a few tears. Why is Hinata crying? Isn't she happy that the asshole is back? Naruto's soul thought to himself. You stupid child. Not now Fox. Yes now. We are dead because of you. I died in you, you worthless little meatbag. And for what? So you could impress that pink-haired monstrosity. She never cared for you ever. Even if you had lived, she would call you a monster just for bring back the little weakly Uchiha and the state he is in. Kyuubi yelled at her container. You're wrong about Sakura. She would never do that. Naruto defended. 1 week later. Naruto was at his own funeral. Funny to him really. We are gathered here today to lie to rest Konoha's greatest hero. Naruto Uzumaki died in the line of service to the Great Leaf Village. Tsunade began. Naruto was surprised to see so many at his funeral. If you call 24 or so people a lot. All of the Leaf 12 and senseis were there but Team 7. Kakashi was there. Tsunade and Shizune were there. Pervy Sage was there. His favorite ramen chief and daughter was there as well. Konohamaru and his team were there. Iruka also. Anko and the purple hair Anbu that always protected him when he was younger was there. Yugao if he remembered right. A shock that the crazy snake lady and the Anbu cared enough to show up. And were shedding real tears. Another shocker was that almost all of the clan heads were there. The only one not there was the Hyuga head. And another girl he didn't know. She looked like Kiba, she was a teenage girl about 15. And even a few other shinobi had showed up. And everyone there had real sadness in their eyes. But none more so than Hinata Hyuga. But what broke Naruto's here was in that whole week he had been dead. Sakura was right next to Sasuke all this time. Never once did she ask about him. Or even who he was doing. In fact, she didn't know Naruto was dead until Tsunade told her about his funeral. But, the nail in the coffin was the word she said to Tsunade after she was told about it. Why would I go to that monster's funeral after what he did to my Sasuke? The monster deserved to die. She yelled and walked off. To get more flowers for Sasuke no doubt. I told you so. Was Kyuubi's only reply to that. It had hurt. He had cried all that night. And even now. He was crying at his own funeral. One by one his friends were saying their goodbyes. He was happy to see that. Then, at the end. Hinata went last. It started raining. As if the heavens were crying as well. Naruto, sob I'm sorry, sob. Sorry for what Hinata? Naruto asked out loud. Not really thinking that she hurt him. I'm sorry that this happened. I'm sorry, sob I never told you, sob. Told me what Hinata? I wish, sob I had told you, sob how much I've come, sob to love you Hinata said and then ran crying her eyes out. Naruto was shocked. Shocked that someone was beautiful and kind as Hinata would love him. She loved me and I never knew. You were too busy chasing rock and a flat-chest rat to notice that a beautiful diamond was following you. Kyuubi told him. She loved me, she loved me, she loved me, and I never saw it. Naruto's mind was in turmoil. Only Kyuubi noticed the chain on his chest. Then they noticed the council walking down the road to them. Stop this at once. And old man yelled. With him was Sasuke Uchiha and his faithful little bitch slave Sakura. You darn cry over that demon brat. He almost killed Sasuke Uchiha. The last loyal Uchiha left in the world. He continued. What? How dare you interrupt this funeral? The funeral of Konoha's greatest hero Naruto Uzumaki. Tsunade yelled. Greatest hero. Ha. That title belongs to me. I killed the great QB, something that not even that weakling fourth could do. That makes me far stronger than that little weakling fourth Hokage. I should become Hokage right now. Sasuke said smugly. Yeah, Sasuke did what no one could do before. Kill that demon. The bitch slave yelled. With the council agreeing. The only reason Hiashi was there was to pick up his daughter. Something told him he should do it. What? Anbu, arrest this stain on Konoha's honor right now. Tsunade yelled. Losing her temper at the little shit stain that darn tarnished the fourth second's name and Naruto's. You will not, Tsunade. He is a hero. The greatest hero. Greater than that of the fourth Hokage. He shall be rewarded. Danzo said. Yay, so stop crying over that weakling who shouldn't have been allowed to live and train me in everything you know, Sanin. If I am to succeed you, I need to be the strongest I can be. In fact, fire style. Dragon Blaze Jutsu. Sasuke let out a massive fire dragon. Tsunade, Shizune and Jiraiya dodged. Only then did they realize Sasuke's true target. Naruto's coffin with his body. It was destroyed in a heartbeat. For Naruto, time stopped. His best friend killed him and then destroyed his body. Thanks for everything, Naruto. You severed your purpose. You gave me my eyes and more power. Sasuke had a sickening smile. Naruto's world was crushed. He felt empty inside. Kyuubi noticed that the chain was eating away at itself. She smiled. Well, maybe death won't be so bad after all. Just a little more. Naruto get even angrier. Come humans, do your worst to Naruto. Give him more of that'll do. In case you're wondering why. Well, just read. You. Everyone looked behind the group of people at Naruto's funeral. Only to see Hinata running at Sasuke. Her gentle fist not looking all that gentle. Funker. Everyone was shocked for two reasons. 1. Hinata cursed. And 2. Sasuke go knock the funk out. She did a gentle fist strike at Sasuke's chest. The force made him crush into a tree. Shattering it into tiny pieces. But she didn't stop there. She continued to beat the shit out of him with straight out punches. It took a full 3 minutes of Sasuke's cries of pain to break them out of their stupor. It took both San and Team Guy and Kakashi to get Hinata off Sasuke. Although none of them wanted to do it. When she was finally pried from Sasuke. He was blue and bloody. Hiashi was impressed. His weakest and oldest one of his two girls just flattened Sasuke Uchiha. The rookie of the year in a second. Before he could blink, Sasuke was beaten into nothing. He smiled. There was no need to put the curse seal on her now. Now that she had Primrose. Naruto smiled. Thank you, Hinata. Naruto gave everything for this village and then you stand there and dare say you're a hero. Greater than that of Lord 4th Hokage. You're weak, Sasuke Uchiha. And you always will be. Naruto will forever be stronger than you, you weak funking piece of rat shit. A beeprich wouldn't go near you if you were the last rotting corpse on earth. Hinata continued to yell at Sasuke. Trying to finish what Naruto started. How dare you, Hinata Hyuga. You dare attack a clan head. One of the civilians yelled at her. One single snake beep sucking gay that couldn't beat off his own pencil beep doesn't classify as a clan. It classifies as something that needs to be purged from this world. We have the Byakugan and many other stronger clans in the Leaf. We haven't lost any power in the world when the stain known as the Uchiha clan was cleaned from Konoha's gutters. What do you think, father? Don't you agree that the Uchiha is better off when it is, in the pages of history, never to be seen again? Hinata was still restrained by the Sannin. Jiraiya was happened that the girl was standing up for Naruto. The Uchiha brat was lucky he was out of the village when he came back. Otherwise he would be in a hole somewhere. Although Hiashi didn't like that his little girl put him in the spotlight. He was proud of her. Putting the spoiled Uchiha in his place was a great way to start the day in his eyes. Danzo just smiled. I think that Lady Hinata brings up a good point. Sasuke needs to rebuild his clan. And thank you for volunteering for this, Lady Hinata. To bring back such a power clan back into this world. After much yelling from both sides. The Fire Lord came up to settle it. His decision was a simple one. When Sasuke turns 17, Hinata Hyuga will marry Sasuke Uchiha along with Sakura Haruno and Ino Yamamaka. Along with any other girls that the Leaf Village Council wishes for the boy. The man said. I accept. Sasuke smirked. You hear that, dope? Hoping that Naruto could hear him in the afterlife, I'm going to be married to the only girl that will ever love you. And don't worry, my dear. I'll make sure that our honeymoon is one to remember. No, I refuse. If you refuse, the Hyuga clan will lose all of its titles and rank in the Land of Fire. I have ruled. The man walked away. Let us go, Hinata. It is time for training. Hinata broken over what the Fire Lord had ruled for her. Her life was over. First she loses the love of her life, only then to have to marry the scum that put him there. She looked at Sasuke fiercely. The second you touch me, worm, is the second that the Uchiha clan dies. She threatened as she walked back to her father's side. Naruto was shocked to his core. Yes, that was all it took. Thank you, stupid humans. You have ensured Naruto's ascent to power. Naruto screamed as the chain on his chest was no more. He screamed as he was no longer human looking. Something was changing him. For better or for worse it was happening. Ah. Power. That is what Naruto felt next. Hinata, I swore I will be back. But that. The new and improved Naruto. Left into the darkness. Not to reappear in this world for an unknown amount of time. Time skipped many years later. Naruto's first 200 years or so in Hueco Mundo was long and lonely. The first thing to go right was the fact that QP made him what he is today. Or at least jump-started it. No vessel of mine will start at the bottom again. She said, and then used her limitless power to turn him into a Vasto Lord. Naruto trained rather than eat to gain power. And because of that he grew stronger than any other. While some were happy at just being a Vasto Lord, Naruto was not. He wanted more power. But when he had reached the peak of his power, he had become a Majesty Vasto Lord. The strongest of all. There is a saying in Hueco Mundo, he who is Majesty is strongest. He who is strongest is king of Hueco Mundo. Naruto never wanted to be king. All he wanted was a propose. But a propose would have to wait for now. But it was fun to go to the human world and fight Soul Reapers and kick their ass. No one could challenge him. Except this one time when he fought 13 strong Soul Reapers. But more on that later. Naruto, bored as hell one day, thought of something. What would happen if I took off my mask? He asked himself this when he was talking to QB. When he said he wanted to be human again, QB remarked that maybe you should take off your mask and lose all your power that you worked so hard on. Then one day. He did just that. With a force so great it drove off all other hollows around him. Naruto took off his mask and felt his power grow tenfold. When he came to, he found himself wearing a plain white coat. And 2 swords next to him. Naruto knew he had more powers, so he decided a purpose can wait for no. He wanted to master these powers. When he looked at himself, he looked more human. In fact, he looked human. Like he would if he was 16 human years old. His mask was gone completely. But not his power. For the next 500 years Naruto spent his free time, which was all the time, mastering his new powers. He smiled at the newfound power he had. But then, he was sad aging. For again, he had no purpose. Then one day a purpose came to him. At 200 years after he mastered his power, when put looking for whatever he was looking for, he found his purpose. He found a little girl crying. She was wearing a small green rag that covered her little body. She had a fractured skull on her head. She was shocked. Another hollow that had taken off its mask. But why was it a child? Child, why are you crying? Naruto asked in a kind voice. The little girl looked at him. Then jumped into his arms still crying. Some big bad hollows came and attacked Nell and her brothers. Nell's brothers fought back but they were too many of them. Nell's brothers told Nell to run, so Nell ran until Nell couldn't run anymore. But now Nell is all alone and can't find Nell's brothers. She said, crying in his chest. Naruto grew angry. This child was strong. He could sense it. But something still felt off about her. There she is. Naruto looked up to see about a dozen hollows, a judge's class or something like that. I don't know why you're here, Soul Reaper. But give us the girl and we'll let you have a head start at getting away. A big bull like a judge's taunted Naruto. Nell ran behind Naruto's legs. That's them, they are the ones that Nell's brothers were fighting. The little girl pointed at them. Where are Nell's brothers? She yelled. The bull laughed. Right here. He pointed to his gut. Nell began wailing. She had lost everything now. The bull and all the rest were laughing even harder now. I hope you're all happy. They stopped laughing as Naruto's power began to rise. Because now you're all dead. In a blink of an eye all of them were gone. Naruto had used his sword to destroy the hollows that made that cute little girl cry. Now, sob, Nell's all, sob, alone, sob, again. Nell was crying. No, you're not. Nell looked up to see Naruto smiling down at her. You're not alone. As long as I am around, you'll never be alone again. From now on, I'll protect you. Nell was so happy, she had the baby face on. She ran and cried in Naruto's chest. Nell's name is Nell, what yours? She asked happily. Naruto smiled. My name is Naruto. Those Naruto promised that Naruto will never leave Nell alone again. She asked with the same childlike voice. Yes. I promise. Naruto smiled. He had found a purpose once again. And no one will that away from him. It had been 100 years since then. Naruto had been looking for a way to restore Nell's power and her form back to the way it was before whatever happened that caused it. But he had a problem. He needed both Hollow power and Soul Reaper power that was not connected like his was. The Hollow part was easy enough. Just killing weak little Uchihas was needed. And they were all over the place. It was finding a Soul Reaper strong enough to help Nell that was hard. All he found were no-name nobodies. Not worth the effort of killing them, but he did anyway. At this rate, it would take another 100 years to get Nell back to her former self. He also noticed that her mask fragment skull was damaged. Like someone had tried to cut her skull in half and almost succeed. He'll deal with that one in due time. But his main focus was restoring Nell to her full power. Alright Nell, we're going back to the human world. Okay, I need to find some Soul Reapers strong enough to help you Nell. Naruto smiled at the little girl. The human world, human world. Nell liked the pretty place known as the human world. Nell shouted in her chibi child voice. Naruto had done his best to help her forget about the people she called her brothers before. He smiled. We leave now, we might not come back so soon this time. Alright Nell. Let's get going. Let's go brother. Nell is happy to see the sun again. She cheered. Naruto smiled and picked up Nell to put on his shoulder. Let's go big brother. Nell is looking forward to seeing the sun again. She cheered. Naruto opened a portal to the same place he always visits. Karakura town. He jumped in. The Karakura. A massive amount of spiritual pressure emanated all over Karakura town. Anyone who could feel it felt it. An orange hair teen felt it barely, but he dismissed it. Hollows ran back to their world. Wanting nothing to do with this great power. Plus souls hid in fear. Hoping beyond hope that they were not found. Naruto and Nell stepped into the world of the living. It was night. Great. We just happened to come in when it's night time. Naruto commented. It is okay big brother. Nighttime here he's still prettier than nighttime at Hueco Mundo. Nell sighed on top his shoulders. I see. Naruto said. So what do you want to do first? Nell's wants to go to the water. You never see water in Hueco Mundo. That's where Nell wants to go first. Very well. Let's go. Naruto started to move to the river in the town. Nearby. Soi Fon was having a normal day in this place. Sort of. She was training this year's new recruits. About 12 or so. Only one of them had any real potential to be a seat officer. Anyway, she was trained this kids in Karakura town, the place was rich in spirit energy. And low-level hollows were always around. So she knew her handpicked new recruits would have no trouble fighting their first hollow. But that changed in a heartbeat. In a blink of an eye, 2 hollows came into Karakura town. Their spirit energy beyond that of anything she had ever faced before. One was that of a high-level captain, on par with her own. The other sent shivers down her spine. She dare say that not even the captain commander could beat it. She looked at her new recruits. All of them were on the ground painting. Trying to breath. Then it settled down. The recruits managed to pick themselves up. While they did that Soi Fon went to go find them. The hollows that had this unholy spirit energy. What she saw shocked her to her core. Even more than the power that they had. One looked like a little girl. She was wearing a full-body green cloth. And she had a cracked skull on top of her head. And a scar on her face. She looked childish to say the least. The other was even more amazing. She saw a handsome young man. He had spiky blonde hair, beautiful blue eyes, and had the feel of a noble about him. He was wearing a white coat and had 2 zanpakutos on him. One on his back, the other at his waist. The one at his waist had a black cloth around it. The other on his back had a blood-red cloth on it. He looked like a human. Or even a Soul Reaper himself. But she never saw him in the Soul Society. Or among the 13 court guards. And his power, she was scared of it. For the first time in her life as a Soul Reaper, she was scared. It was like nothing she had ever felt before. Great. We just happened to come in when it's nighttime. She heard the blonde say. That caught her off guard. He was disappointed in was nighttime in the world of the living. It is okay big brother. Nighttime here he's still prettier than nighttime at Hueco Mundo. She heard the little girl say to the blonde. That proved it, they were hollows. But they looked so human. I see. So what do you want to do first? She heard the blonde say again. What are they up to? Nell's wants to go to the water. You never see water in Hueco Mundo. That's where Nell wants to go first. The little was talking in third person. Nell, was that her name? Soi Fon continued to watch the two. Very well. Let's go. The blonde began to float to the river of the town. This confused Soi Fon even more. Why are they here? She asked herself. Are they just sightseeing? She looked at her scared group of recruits. Follow them, keep out of sight and hid your spirit energy. Do not fail me in this. She told them, they all nodded. Far from the bulk of the town. Naruto and Nell were looking at the river in its calm form. The moon shining down on the water. Naruto sighed. He had felt a few Soul Reapers following them. Only one of them worth noting. But not just them, he felt others following him as well. I guess it was too much to ask to be able to move about the human world freely. He didn't want to ruin this moment. But he wanted to help Nell get her powers back. She was so close to getting her powers back. If Naruto killed the stronger one of the Soul Reapers then she would. He thought of the pros and cons. Then he made his decision. "Come on out, Soul Reapers. I know you're following us," Naruto said aloud. Nell looked at Naruto. "Soul Reapers? They're here? Where?" Nell asked nervously. Naruto looked in the direction of Soi Fon and her group. At first no one came out of hiding. Very well. Naruto vanished in sound. Naruto Sanito in front of Soi Fon and her group. Much to the relief of most of the others following him. All but one of them was relieved. "Why are you following us? We have nothing you want. So just go away," Naruto said, looking Soi Fon in the eyes. Soi Fon almost felt like the blonde in front of her was looking into her soul. Those big blue eyes, they were intense. "Ah. Mean evil Soul Reapers. Make them go away, big brother," Nell yelled, trying to hide behind Naruto's head. "You see, look at what you've done. You've sacred Nell." Naruto looked at them. The Soul Reaper's sweat drop. "What are you doing here, Hollow?" Soi Fon asked. Seeing as she was the only one that could. The rest of the team was hyperventilating. "You must be strong. To be in my presence and not look like them." Naruto pointed at her recruits. Although she didn't show it, Soi Fon had begun to sweat. The limiter seal on her caused her lose a lot of power. Doubtful that she could take this Hollow with her without it even. "I asked what are you doing here, Hollow?" she said a little more forcefully. "I will only answer that question if you do not call me a Hollow. I have stopped being one of those mindless beasts for some time now. Call me by my name," Naruto said to her. "And what is your name?" She was stalling. She had called into the Soul Society to release the seal that was on her. Every second was another she could fight at full power. Also for a barrier and reinforcements. She knew that this Hollow was far stronger than any other she had faced before. "Very well. I will tell you my name if you tell me yours. My name, when I was alive, is Naruto Uzumaki. Once a vassal lord of Hueco Mundo. Now tell me yours." "And I'm Nell, Soul Reaper woman," Nell said, peeking out from Naruto's hair. She froze. "Vassal lord. Once one. What did that mean?" "Your name, women," Naruto said more forcefully. "My name is Soi Fon. And that's all I'm telling you, Hollow." She felt his spiritual pressure spike for a moment. "My name is Naruto, as I had already told you. Do not call me a Hollow. I am something more than just a mere Hollow," Naruto told her. "Come on. Come on. Come on." She needed more time. "What do you mean a mere Hollow? You look human, but have two Zanpakutos. How do you have Zanpakutos whole, Naruto?" She saw his angry look when she was about to call him a Hollow. "I and Nell here are different. We have evolved past the mere level of Hollow. I was once a vassal lord Hollow of the highest rank. But was bored one day and took off my mask. Nell tells me that she is, and you know what? I just realized something. I have no need to tell you this. For there is no point. You are stalling for time so help can arrive in time. I tell you now that is not needed. I have no intention of fighting you as much as I want to," Naruto told her, his hands in his pockets. "Then why are you here? Still waiting?" "Nell wanted to go to the human world. We both hate the sight of sand and the night in Hueco Mundo." Naruto looked at the night with the city lights. "This place is beautiful. These humans take it for granted. But you never love this place more than when you've been in a desert for over 1,000 years. Soi Fon's eyes widened. 1,000 years. That's how long the Captain Commander has been at his post as Captain Commander. 1,000 years. Yes. Now, are we going to fight? Or are you going to let me enjoy the sight of this place in peace? I'd rather not fight here today, but I couldn't take the chance that you would try to kill us when our backs were turned. Not that you could," Naruto said in a normal tone of voice. He then heard a radio come to life behind her. It said something he did not understand and then reinforcements on the way. That party understood quite nicely. Soi Fon smirked. She raised her hand and a flower-like symbol disappeared. As she said a phase. Her power increased. Naruto sighed. "Nell, find some place to hide, will you? I'm afraid that Soi Fon wishes to fight." Nell jumped down and her little legs began running. "Be careful, big brother. Remember you are promised to never leave Nell alone again." She ran. "I remember." Naruto looked at Soi Fon sadly. "I hope I don't kill you. Looking into your eyes I no longer want to," he said to her. Soi Fon was surprised at that. He didn't want to kill her. Behind her a gate opened up. 7 figures come into view. The first was a juggernaut of a man with a menacing grin on his face and an eye patch. Also he had a little girl on his shoulders. She looked about the same age as Nell is going by human years and size. The next two was a young red-headed man, some spikes. The man next to him looked calm and collected. The opposite of the other guy. He had some weird things in her hair. The two next to them were interesting to Naruto. One was a busty blonde-haired woman. And next to her was a little kid. A little older looking than Nell and the pink-haired girl on Juggernaut Man. The kid had white hair and was in the same getup as Soi Fon, Juggernaut Man and White Man. And next to them some fat guy. Naruto blinked. Why did you bring in two kids for a fight? Naruto asked Soi Fon as he pointed to the pink-haired girl and the white-haired boy. This got a giggle from Busty One and a tick mark from the kid. Oh. Soi Fon told her recruits. And they did. Great, I was hoping to take it easy today. Said the fat guy. This looks like fun. Juggernaut Man smiled his scary smile. Let's get this over with. The red-haired guy said. So are you going to introduce yourselves first? Naruto asked. Not really caring about whom he was facing. Everyone back off, he's mine. The Juggernaut Man stepped forward. So, should I call you Juggernaut Man or do you have a name? Naruto asked with his hands in his pockets still. Oh Kenny. Naruto looked at the little girl. Then back at Juggernaut Man. So, is that your name? Kenny? He smiled. I can't tell that you're strong. My name is Kenpachi Zaraki. Captain of the 11th Division. He introduced himself in a manner that would make a curtain freaky fish guy happy. I am Naruto Uzumaki, former Vasto Lord of Hueco Mundo. Naruto told them. Kenpachi smiled. Then noticed his Zanpakudos. Aren't you going to draw your Zanpakudo? Naruto shook his head no. No. At your current level of spirit energy, you couldn't scratch me. Kenpachi only smiled more. Somewhere else. This should be good. A man with a fan and a bucket hat was fanning himself. Next to him a black cat. Relive that Soi Fon won't be fighting him Yoruichi. The cat said nothing. I'll take that as a yes. But this one is strange and strong. He almost feels like a wizard. But at the same time a rancor. He continues to fan himself when a little girl in green came up to them. You guys seem nice. I'll hang out with you till big brother Naruto drives away the mean soul reapers. The little girl walked up to the cat. Ooh kitty. She began to hug the poor thing to death. The man laughed a bit. Poor Yoruichi. He said. Yoruichi giving him a death glare. Back with Naruto. Both Naruto and the soul reapers jumped into the air and were standing on it. Kenpachi raised his sword, then brought it down on Naruto. Naruto didn't move and let it hit him. The sound it made when it hit his skin was like two Zanpakudos hitting each other. Naruto looked at Ken's face. His smile not changing at the least bit. I told you. At your current level you can't touch me. Naruto said unmoving. Some of the other captains were surprised at these turn of events. Kenpachi smiled. Alright Naruto Uzumaki. Now I get to do this. Kenny's going to play now. The little pink-haired girl said on the sidelines. Kenpachi took off his eye patch. And Naruto felt his power grow even farther than Naruto thought he could go. Naruto was slightly impressed. Kenpachi with his power no longer hindered. Tried to cut him down again. Only for Naruto to grab the tip of his blade with two fingers. The blade was in between Naruto's left hand's middle finger and index finger. Naruto looked at the captains. I felt a barrier go up before you guys showed up. Does that barrier protect the humans from our fight, including damage done to buildings? Naruto asked politely. This shocked the captains and vice captains. But Kenpachi was trying to free his sword from the vice grip that Naruto's two fingers had on his sword. Well, I hope it does. Naruto pointed his right index finger at Kenpachi's chest. Zero. Naruto's zero was destructive. To say the least. Kenpachi was sent back down to the ground by the zero. Oh sorry, I should have held back more of my power. I didn't think I was using that much. Naruto said normally. As if he was sorry for not holding back more. The Soul Reapers looked shocked. Kenpachi the Juggernaut was just beaten in one move. The Hollow had even said he was holding back. A rumbling sound was heard as the Soul Reapers and Naruto looked at where Kenpachi landed. The Ruble forced a way to revile Kenpachi. His upper body no longer covered as it was destroyed and he was bloody. Hahaha that was great Uzumaki. Really great. I haven't had this much fun forever. Ken yelled insanely happily. Oh I'm glad you survived. I was afraid that my Zero had killed you. Naruto said to the insane Juggernaut. However you cannot hope to scratch me if that is the extent of your power. Who is next? He looked at the group of Soul Reapers on the sidelines. I'm not done yet Uzumaki. I am far from done. Oh is that so? Naruto looked back at Kenpachi. Oh very well. Naruto reached for his black Zanpakudo. Both were the same as Ulquiorra's Zanpakudo, but one was black the other was red. But then he stopped. He is unworthy? Naruto seemed to ask himself. Everyone looked at him. I see. Sorry Kenpachi. My Zanpakudo says you're unworthy to fight her. Too bad. But don't worry, I still have more powers for you to face. Kenpachi was insulted. at the Zanpakuto saying he was unworthy. But was intrigued at the other power's comment. Naruto held out his hand. Draining javelin generation. A javelin made out of pure red energy about 5 feet long came to life. This little number took me a while to perfect. Be honored to be the first to be its test subject. Naruto got ready to throw it like a pitcher. He then released it at Kenpachi. It went right through Kenpachi's chest and into the ground. He still had a menacing grin on his face. Is that all you've got? He yelled at the blonde. The javelin still in him. Then his eyes widened when Naruto held out his hand. No, just that fighting you is troublesome to do right now. I have no desire to fight you at full or even half power. You are not worthy of such a display of my power. But, however, I will take your power for my own. You have enough of it. Soon everyone felt Naruto's hand was draining energy from his javelin. Kenpachi's eyes widened again. He felt his spirit energy fading fast. Do not worry, Juggernaut man. The power I am taking from you, you will be able to regain in time. Within seconds Kenpachi, as difficult as it would seem, fell to his knees. Unable to stand any longer. Naruto turned his head to the others. So who's next? He asked. His smirk was somewhat unnerving. The other captains were shocked. This hollow beat Kenpachi like a captain would a student. We take him together. We attack with everything we've got. The little white-haired kid suggested to the others. Right, Captain? The busty one said to the kid. He's a captain? Naruto asked. This got another tick mark from Toshiro. And giggles from the woman. What's a captain? Naruto asked again. All of the Soul Reapers sweat drop. Thank you for playing with Kenny. Kenny had fun blonde. The little pink-haired girl said running to the down captain's side. We will take you down hollow. You will not survive past tonight. The red-haired guy. Such a waste of my time. Very well, if you all wish to fight me, give it all you got. Naruto held out both arms as if inviting them for a hug. Crush him. Jujetsuburi. The big guy's Zanpakuto turned into a spike ball with chain. Roar. Zabumaru. The redhead Zanpakuto was now whip-like. Growl. Hineko. The busty blonde's blade of her Zanpakuto turned to ash. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this. Sting all enemies to death. Suzumabachi. Soi Fon's Zanpakuto looked like a bee's stringer. Scatter. Senbonzakura. The quite captain's Zanpakuto became a lot of little pink flower petals. Sit upon the frozen heavens. Hyorinmaru. The little kid's Zanpakuto was now an ice dragon. Naruto looked at the display of power in front of him. Naruto tilted his head. Question. Naruto held up one figure. Why didn't Juggernaut Man release his Zanpakuto? Naruto asked pointing to Kenpachi. None of the Soul Reapers in front of him answered his question. How rude. Naruto pouted. But Naruto reached his right hand at them. The captains tensed a bit. She says that all of you combined are worthy. Naruto reached for his black Zanpakuto. And completely unsheathed it. For her to come out and play. The other one was not worthy to fight her, he smiled. Let's see how you six fare against her. He looked a little bored. With this, she is almost complete. He said to himself. The next fight was about to begin. Naruto wasted no time starting the fight. With a Sanito Naruto was behind them. His blade dripping in blood of the one first to fall in this soon-to-be short battle. The first one to fall was the big guy. The bottom half of his shikai fell to the floor. Then a massive cut appeared across his large beer belly. Then fall to the ground below. For the vice-captains and the captains, all they did was blinked. 1 down 5 to go. Naruto said coldly. Hineko. The busty blonde attacked Naruto next. When Naruto turned to look at her. His eyes held no life, they were cold as ice, colder than Toshiro's ice. Ranjiku wait. The white-haired kid yelled at her, seeing the look on the blonde hollow's face. But it was too late. Way of destruction. Black coffin. Ranjiku was enveloped in a black box. Then black spears pierced the box. Toshiro heard Ranjiku scream. When the box dissipated, Ranjiku had many lacerating cut in her. She too fell on top of the roof of a building. 2 down 4 to go. Naruto said in the same cold voice. Ranjiku. Those Abimaru. The redhead guy attacked Naruto next. Naruto turned to look at him. When Renji's eyes and Naruto's eyes meet, he saw that he had already lost. Naruto just Sanito and was on the other side of Renji. A second later, Renji had a cut from side to side. His shikai returned to normal. Then he too fell to the ground. 3 down 3 to go. Now that the weak ones are out of the way, we can fight for real. Naruto turned to face the 3 captains. But the first group watching the fight. Would you look at that? He took out 3 vice captains faster than anyone I've ever seen. He even used Kido. The man fanning himself was impressed. The big mean Soul Reapers have no chance to beat big brother Naruto. He's beaten loads of strong hollows back in Hueco Mundo. Even other rankers. Big brother Naruto is undefeated, Nell said, continuing to crush poor Yoruichi. Other rankers? Nell, how many other rankers are there? The fan man asked Nell. Nell does not know. But Nell knows that Nell is an ranker. Big brother Naruto has been collecting the power of mean evil soul reapers and hollows so he can restore Nell's power. That's what big brother Naruto says he's going to do for Nell. Nell said, hugging the kitty again. Collect soul reaper and hollow powers. How is he doing that? Fan man asked. By killing them, silly. The cat's eyes widened. Don't you know anything? When a hollow and a soul reaper see each other, it is the job of a hollow to kill them so that the mean evil soul reapers don't go off doing other bad stuff. When big brother kills them, he takes the power of that mean evil soul reaper so he can help Nell. The cat began trying to escape the child ranker's grip. I think you should let the kitty go for now, Nell. I think she needs to do something important. Fan man told Nell. Oh, does kitty promise to come back to Nell? Nell looked at the cat as she just nodded. Okay. Nell let go of the cat and she spirited to the fight, hoping to save someone important to her. But the other group watching the fight. Wow, that guy has some impressive spiritual pressure. A blonde-haired guy with what looked like a permanent grin on his face said to the others that were watching. Indeed he does. It feels like ours, but still different. A very big man with pink hair replied. So, let's just kill the Dumbus when he's done with the captains. A short girl said, annoyed. That would be unwise. He defeated 4 vice captains, and that one captain faster than any of us have beaten a low-level hollow. And the fact he is not going all out against 3 Shikai released Zanpakutos from 3 captains means he's far stronger than he is letting on. Another girl said. We'll watch for now. See what happens. The Grin Man said. Back to the fight during the conversations. Naruto Sanito to the captains who only Flash stepped out of the way, he again Sanito to the nearest one, which was the kid. He brought down his Zanpakuto on the kid who blocked with his own. Toshiro was trying to hold the blade back with all his might, but he felt the overwhelming power that his hollow had. Naruto himself was not putting any effort into the attack. Then Naruto kicked the boy in the gut, causing him to lose breath. Then was launched to the ground at high speeds when Naruto fired a zero at point-blank range. Naruto saw the quiet captain charge him next. With all the little pink flower petals around him and attacking Naruto at the same time. The petals attacked Naruto, he just sat there and took it. Soi Fon smirked when Byakuya killed the hollow. But then both captains were shocked when the pink petals were blown away. And the hollow Naruto was still there, only his white coat had been damaged. Naruto just grabbed his ruined white coat and tore it off him, revealing his hollow hole, dead center of his well-toned chest. Some women blushed. Naruto Sanito in front of the quiet captain. And Zero Rasengan. Naruto drove a red Rasengan into Byakuya's gut, sending him to the ground like the others. Naruto Sanito away from his spot when he felt Soi Fon try to stab him in the back. He appeared behind her. She flash-stepped to avoid Naruto cutting her down. She blushed again looking at his chest. Only then she realized her less-than-rookie mistake. Naruto got behind her, grabbed her arm with her released Zanpakuto and held it away from them. Grabbed her other arm and wrapped it around her neck. She now could not move. Soi Fon was berating herself. Such a stupid mistake. She got distracted and that will cost her her life. She was thinking, she wasn't dead yet. You're holding back, Naruto stated more than asked. Don't. Then Naruto took a nice long whiff of Soi Fon's hair. You smell good. Naruto said playfully. That pissed off Soi Fon as she used her flexibly to kick him in the face. Then when her left hand was released, elbow him in the gut and do a 180-degree turn and knee him in the groin. Ouch. Soi Fon got a bit away from him and smirked. Naruto was holding his groin area in pain. Had that been permanent I would have been very upset. Naruto said, not really in pain. I'm sorry to say, my dear, that it's time to end our date a little short. Naruto pointed his index finger at her. In response, Soi Fon decided to make clones of herself. See if you can hit me now, hollow. All 15 of her clones said at the same time. Clones? No, not really clones, after images. Nothing special. But now a normal zero won't hit you now. Naruto was still charging up his zero. Soi Fon raised an eyebrow. Naruto was done charging. QP zero. Naruto fired a red zero at Soi Fon and her after images. Unlike the normal zero. This one split into 9 others, hit 9 of the after images, then those 9 split into 9 more and hit the rest along with Soi Fon, but the damage was minimal. But it made her immobile. This one is my favorite zero, Soi Fon. I hope it doesn't kill you. Grand Queen QP zero. Like the one fired before, this one was red. But unlike the other one, this one did not split into 9 other zeros. This one took the form of the QP's head and hit Soi Fon. The cat nearby eyes widened. They looked sad. I hope she's alive. I didn't want to fight in the first place. Naruto said aloud to himself. From the smoke a figure fell to the ground below them. She tried to get up but Naruto Sanito right next to her head. She looked up tried and weak. Her sword next to her in its unreleased form. "Finish it," was all she said as she looked in his eyes with defiance. "Kill me you monster and see what happens when the Soul Society comes for you." She continued to look up at him. She looked into his eyes. For a moment he looked hurt. But she still saw kind blue eyes. She was looking at them. She felt like this hollow's eyes were looking into her soul. She never felt like this, so naked in the gaze of another. The only other time was when Yoruichi was looking at her. Naruto was hurt. He was hurt, he hasn't been called a monster in a long time. I guess it is to be expected. I am a monster by all rights. Naruto raised his blade, ready to stab. By all rights but one. Soi Fon closed her eyes as Naruto brought down his blade. No. Naruto stabbed his blade right in front of Soi Fon. "I will not kill you Soi Fon. For I am not a monster." Naruto sheathed his Zanpakuto. He turned to a cat. "I suggest getting your fellow comrades back to that Soul Society place of yours. They might die without treatment." Naruto looked as the cat walking to Soi Fon. Soi Fon was nearly passed out, she had used all of her spirit energy that she had left to make the damage from that last attack not as bad. She must have not negated a lot of it. She then saw a cat come up to her. Soi Fon didn't hear what the cat had said. She was too dazed to think straight. She then passed out. Naruto looked at the cat. As it stood in front of Soi Fon. "Please don't kill her." The cat asked. Naruto blinked. "I'm going out on a limb here and say that you're no ordinary fluffy kitty." Naruto said looking down at the cat. "Yes, I am no ordinary fluffy kitty." A deep male-like voice came from the cat. "Please don't kill her." The cat asked again. "Don't worry. I had no intention of killing any of them. Nor did I want to fight them in the first place. But I didn't want to risk Nell's life since they were following us." The cat nodded. "Follow me if you please." "Sorry fluffy kitty. I need to find Nell." Naruto was about to walk away. Little girl in green cracked skull on her head scar on her face and talks in the third person. "Yay, have you seen her?" "Nope sorry." Cat shook its head no. Naruto sweat drop at the cat's joke. "Follow me, I know someone who has." The cat smirked. Although you couldn't tell because, well, it's a cat. Following the cat to a small shop out of the way of, well, everything. He followed the cat inside. "Ah, I see our guest has arrived." A man with a fan said. "Welcome to my shop." He greeted Naruto. Naruto nodded. "Big brother. Nell is glad that Nell's big brother is safe." "So, did Nell's big brother drive off those mean evil soul reapers?" Nell asked. "Yes. I drove off those mean evil yet one being very pretty soul reapers." Naruto patted Nell on the head. "Kitty." Nell began chasing Yoruichi around the shop. Breaking things as she goes. "Sorry about that. She has a one-track mind sometimes." Naruto apologized to the fan man. "That's alright. Now then Naruto we have some things we need to talk about." Some more glass-like objects broke. Just after the fight ended. Because you see, there was another group watching. That was interesting. That guy beat 4 captains in a row without breaking a sweat. A woman with different color eyes said. Her tone of voice said that she was impressed. Indeed. Even at that power I doubt that was all of it. I bet that he had way more than that. Another with a sleeve covering her mouth said to her dual-eyed companion. That power was monstrous. I was stronger than most of the Espada. A dark-skinned woman said to the others. That power was barely any of his full power. He had 2 Zanpakutos but drew only 1. Never called its name or used many zeros. He even used Kido. I dare say that he is far beyond almost all of the Espada. Never fight him alone. The 4th member of the group said to the others. If you remember the little one saying his name, she called him Naruto. If his full name is Naruto Uzumaki. She left that statement hanging. The 4th one of the group had most of her face covered. Spiky blonde hair and green eyes. Let us go back to Las Noches. The 4 women vanished. But Naruto at Urahara's shop. So let me get this straight, you 2 are soul reapers? Naruto asked the fan man now known as Kisuke Urahara. Kisuke nodded. Nell was asleep and would be drooling on Yoruichi if Naruto didn't free the cat from the child ranker's hug of doom. And you guys don't want to fight me even though I'm part hollow. Kisuke nodded again. Alright, I'll bite. Why not? Naruto was still looking at them with a hint of mistrust. Why is that so hard to believe? He asked in a carefree tone. Let's just say my limited experience with soul reapers ends with them dead and me annoyed. Naruto said crossing his hands over his chest. Well, you see 100 years ago Kisuke told him the events that transpired and how they are now exiled. I see. Makes sense to me. Any other soul reaper would have tried to kill Nell by now. Which I am grateful you haven't. She is my purpose in life now. Naruto patted Nell on the head. Your purpose? Kisuke asked a little shocked. Yes. In Hueco Mundo, your purpose in life, or afterlife as it were, is to kill and get stronger. If not, you die and your existence ends. I never thought of that way of life as a purpose. Just a way to survive. Naruto was next to Nell stroking her hair. Kitsukage decided to listen. And not talk. The first 900 years of my life in Hueco Mundo was nothing but to become the strongest in that world. I would go to the human world from time to fight a Soul Reaper to see if any of them were strong. Only one other time I had fought what I now know as a captain. I managed to kill 12 of them. Naruto shrugged. Both Kitsukage and Yoruichi eyes widened. You killed 12 Soul Reaper captains. Kitsukage all carelessness had left him. Yay, but one got away. Naruto shrugged. You fought the 13 court guard captains and killed 12 of them? At once? Yoruichi asked. Not believing what she was hearing. Yes. Although they were tough as they come. I had just become a Majesty Vasto Lord when. Wait, what? A Majesty Vasto Lord? Yes. It's the highest form of hollow possible. The Vasto Lord in Hueco Mundo have their own levels of power. The most common of Vasto Lord are the newborn. Vasto Lord that have just become such. They are on par with a Soul Reaper captain. At least the average ones are. The next are nobles. They are fewer nobles, that is to be expected, but they hold the power to fight a captain and beat them. Yoruichi and Kitsukage widened. Again. Then, the final Vasto Lord type. Majesty Vasto Lord. The strongest hollow of all. Majesty can fight up to 13 captains and win. Although even I don't know how much I can take. I never had to fight at full tilt before. I was a Vasto Lord Majesty when I became what I am now. There is a saying in Hueco Mundo. He who is Majesty is strongest. He who is strongest is king of Hueco Mundo. Naruto let them digest what he had just told them. He could hear the gears running in their head. He was the strongest hollow in existence. And he was right in front of them. It took a few minutes. But Yoruichi managed to speak first. What are you now? She hesitantly. Bored, for one. But we're getting off track about Nell being my purpose. I found her crying, and it hurt to see that. Hollows that were being big brothers to her had died by some hollows, so after I killed them, I made sure that Nell was never alone. I protect her, that is my purpose now. She sometimes wishes to come to the human world. So I bring her. If our presence disturbing you, we will leave when Nell wants to go back to Hueco Mundo. Naruto looked at Nell's sleeping form. He was so close now. 100 years and the power needed to restore her were just around the corner. No, you're no disturbing us. Yoruichi said, still eyeing his toned chest. Seeing as he still did not have a shirt on. Kitsukage fanned himself to keep his grin plastered behind his fan. Naruto, I have a question about Nell, if you don't mind. Go ahead. Nell said that you've been collecting the powers of hollows and soul reapers to restore her power. What did she mean by that? He asked. Well, no harm in telling you. Nell is trapped, so to speak. He started. How so? Yoruichi asked. Still in cat form. Well, I don't know the details, but Nell lost a great deal of her power when her mask was damaged. When an ranker's mask is damaged or taken off, they lose power. Nell's power has been leaking from her cracked mask since it happened. I'm not sure when it happened. I had found Nell after that fact. But that had been over 100 years ago. Since then I've been collecting power from hollows and soul reapers so I can repair the damage done to her and restore her power. Granted, all her power won't be back right away, but when her mask is repaired, she'll gain her power back in time. I'm so close. Naruto said aloud. How close are you to restoring her power? Kitsukage asked Naruto. Well, Nell was powerful when she had all her power. She was easily as powerful as a Captain Soul Reaper if those guys I beat earlier are anything to go by. How powerful exactly, I don't know. We didn't meet when she had all her power. Naruto told them. Then how do you know that she had all this power that you claim? Yoruichi looked at the child, a rancor that nearly broke her little spine. When, the power she would leak when I'm not around would be about half of those guys' power a day. She regains it over time, but she won't get stronger without help. When I'm around I keep that in check. So she doesn't lose as much. You could feel it in Hueco Mundo miles away. As for restoring her power. I have all the hollow power I need to restore her. But the problem was finding Soul Reaper power to finish it. Naruto sighed. Why not your own power? Kitsukage closed his fan. Naruto shook his head. No. I need untainted Soul Reaper power. Otherwise I would have used my own to help her. The reason is that Nell is a perfect ranker. At least by Hueco Mundo standards. When a hollow is made into an ranker, by unnatural means, their mask is flooded by pure Soul Reaper power when the barrier that prevents that is gone. How she did it I do not know. But what she needs, pure Soul Reaper power. The hollow power that she also needs is to repair the mask and restore her own hollow powers. The Soul Reaper power keeps her sane so she doesn't go on a murdering spree and restore her Soul Reaper powers. That is what it means to be in a ranker, gain power and humanity. But then you feel ache for the sins you have commented. Naruto explained to them. This was a great deal of information to handle for them. What about you? You have a hollow hole and 2 Zanpakutos. But no mask fragment. So you're not in a ranker or a visored. The what? Oh, sorry, a visored is a soul reaper that has gained hollow powers. Basically the reverse version of an ranker. Kitsukage explained. Oh, okay. But yes, I am not in a ranker or a visored. I am a new race entirely. Oh, what's it called? I honestly had no name for it. Never needed one. For no hollow would dare try to do what I did out of fear. And no soul reaper would because of some rules I'm assuming. But I call my race the Misutrareta. Naruto told them. The Forsaken. Why? Yoruichi asked before Kitsukage could. Because I am half soul reaper, half hollow. And stronger than both. Hollows just don't like anything or anyone. So I'd never be accepted by them. And don't get me started on soul reapers. They hate anything that's not 100% soul reaper. So yay. Naruto, another question. Shoot fan man. How did you become what you are now? Kitsukage had a genuine interest. For hollow to become what I am. They must do what most won't even dare think about. They must not eat to gain power. That is the easy way. When I died and became a hollow, I started out as a newborn Vastolord. But I didn't eat any of the hollows I beat. Instead I destroyed the bodies and absorbed their power when it was released. Mind you, I didn't get all of their power, only about 85% or so. The other 5% was their soul and 10% would be lost. The stronger the soul the more power I don't get. Naruto told them. Yoruichi's eyes widened. Wait, then why would eating a soul not give as much power as your way? Hollows are pitiful and mindless creatures. But they are more angry and hateful. When one is eaten as a hollow they spite the one that ate them one last time without knowing it. When the soul enters them the soul tears away at some of the power of the hollow. On top of that, the soul goes with all the other souls that the hollow has eaten tearing away at the hollow's power even more. 90% of the power they eat goes to put those souls to sleep and repair the damage done by eating the soul of the hollow. Only 10% goes to increase the hollow's power. If that. That is why Vastolord are so hard to find if you're looking for one. If a Vastolord continued eating after they had become what they are, they would see that they would gain almost 80% of the power that they eat. But most are happy being a newborn Vastolord, so they stop eating. Naruto looked at Yoruichi and Kitsukage. Sorry, I tend to rant sometimes. I hope that this is helpful. But I must go. Why? Yoruichi asked quickly. I must. I'm so close to restoring Nell's powers. I just need a little more Soul Reaper power. That Juggernaut man helped out a lot. It's only thanks to him that I got this far so quickly. I thought it would be another 100 years before I could do it. Naruto looked a little happy. Well, Naruto, me and Yoruichi are captain-level Soul Reapers. Maybe we could help. Kitsukage said with a bit of a smile. Really? You would? Kitsukage nodded. Thank you. If this works. I'll owe you. If it's within my power to do, then it will be done. Naruto bowed to them until his head touched the floor. So, aside from killing us, how could you get our Soul Reaper power? Kitsukage asked. Not wanting to have to face this guy in combat. Well, there are several ways. Killing you would grant me the most of your power, but that's out of the question. The next is harder but painful. I fight you and I drain you slowly. But we can do that another time. The easiest way is actually the less painful way and quickest. We go somewhere where you can release as much spiritual energy as possible, and I suck it up. But you too, it shouldn't take too long. 10 or so minutes. Naruto hoped that wasn't enough. At full power? Yoruichi asked. No, just a constant stream of your power will do. Naruto picked up Nell, still sleeping. Come, let's get this show on the road. One question. Both looked at him. How is it a cat is a Soul Reaper captain? He asked how he would get his answer. In the endless training field. Naruto's reaction to Yoruichi's human form was priceless. First he went bug-eyed. Then he passed out from a nosebleed. It took a moment for Naruto to regain his senses. Only to pass out again when he found his head in Yoruichi's cleavage. The third time he got away from the deadly weapon of mass bleeding known as Yoruichi's cleavage. Naruto cleaned himself so they could get started. Now, this will tear you out. But you'll be fine. Just release your spirit energy near me and my sword will take care of the rest. Both nodded. One more thing. I'm going to release my Zanpakuto. You may feel a sense of dread and despair, this is to be expected, but do not fear. My power is not aiming at you with ill intent. He said in a reassuring tone. Both looked confused at first. Devastate and despair. Naruto's black blade was held out in front of him. Forbidden Angel. A massive amount of black-colored spirit energy covered the rocky wasteland. Even with the two of them combined it felt overwhelming. It feels like old man Yamamoto. When he draws his Zanpakuto. Kitsukage looked shocked. Never before had he felt a feeling of complete helplessness. He felt that the power before him could kill him the second that it wanted to. When the power subsided, Naruto's blade had transformed. It was an evil purple color. The blade was slightly curved. The blade itself looked sinister. It had circle curves from hilt to tip. This is my Zanpakuto, the forbidden angel. She who prays to a god that dares not listen. Naruto explained his Zanpakuto. Now then, let us begin. Naruto raised up his Zanpakuto. Whenever you're ready. They both nodded. They began to release their spirit energy. Naruto was surprised at first. He didn't think that they had this much power. A surprise, but no, an unpleasant one. Devastation. Naruto's voice was somewhat like an echo. Both Kitsukage and Yoruichi felt it instantly. They felt their spirit energy being taken from them. They had hope that they were doing the right thing. That this hollow was not like the rest. That his intention was genuine. Again Naruto was surprised. At first he thought that it might take 10 or so minutes. Now, they might get done in 2. After said 2 or so minutes were done, he stopped draining them. Stop, thank you, I have all that I need. Both were relived. Despair. Both looked up. Thinking that he had attacked them, but the sword was pointed at little Nell. They felt hollow and soul reaper power going into Nell. It wasn't long until results were shown. The blinding bright light well blinded them. And when it cleared, Naruto was stuck staring at who, you may ask. Well, at adult Nell now. It would seem that the little green thing she had on was too small for her, all grown up. And it was torn, revealing a lot of nice female skin. Nell opened her eyes. Groggy at just waking up. She yawned and sat up. Naruto being the pervert of the group, Kitsukage as well. We're looking at her chest. Naruto because he wasn't expecting this. Kitsukage because he's a pervert at heart. Nell rubbed her eyes to clear them out. Then she noticed Naruto. Naruto. Nell proceeded to give Naruto her super hot hug of pleasant death. Basically she was hugging him in her cleavage, crushing him more like it. Naruto struggled fruitlessly to escape. And pass out for the 3rd time that night by a combination of blood loss and lack of O2. Huh? Nell looked at the now limp Naruto. Naruto, oh no, what happened, are you okay? She started shaking him violently. To see if he was alright. Of course he was. Both Kitsukage and Yoruichi had a laugh. Naruto woke up 10 minutes later. With Nell waiting for him to wake up. Naruto. She again hugged him in the same fashion. But Naruto managed to escape this time. Unwillingly, of course. Nell? He asked. Yep. She smiled at him. But my full name is Neliel Tuadershvink. She giggled at Naruto's lost look on his face. Longest name ever. That was the look on his face. You mind if I keep calling you Nell? Your full name is a bit of a mouthful. He asked. Of course not, silly. You protected me when I was in a weakened state. So I don't mind. Thanks, Naruto. She said to him. Losing a bit of that childish manner that he had come to get used to. But then again this adult Nell was much hotter. Oh, what's this? She picked up something shiny and was looking at herself in it. Nell looked normal. Not even a scar. Her mask fragment was fully repaired and everything. The only thing he needed to work on was her cloths. Considering that she was still in the green rags of hers. Well, I'm glad you're yourself again. He smiled. Oh, Naruto. She hugged him again. You look so cute with that smile. She said, rubbing his face with her own. On second thought. She still has that childish personality still. That's still good. Naruto said, looking up. Because looking down. Well, I see that you're awake, Naruto. Both Naruto and Nell looked at the owner of the voice. Then Naruto saw the stars in Nell's eyes. Kitty. Nell pointed and ran after the cat. Yoruichi, fearing for her life, ran as fast as she could to get away. But Nell caught her before she could use any real speed. But surprising that Nell's touch was kind and not like her child version at all. Yoruichi could get used to this. Anyway, Naruto, Nell, we have some things to discuss with you both. Both nodded. Being serious. Well, if you both want to stay here in the human world, I can help there. And also teach you what you need to know to survive here in the real world. Basic common knowledge of this place and all that. Kitsukage told them with his fan covering his face. Both Nell and Naruto nodded. Right then, let's get started, shall we? Kitsukage was looking at a bookshelf for a particular book. Aha. Found you. Kitsukage brought out a very big and old-looking book. He blew on it to get the dust off. The dust covered the whole room. It took a minute before the dust settled. And when the book cover was clear. It read, How to Survive in the Human World for Dummies 101. Read this and it'll tell you everything you need to. Smack. Yoruichi head-butted Kitsukage. Disregard what Kitsukage just told you. Follow me in order to learn what you need to survive in this world. Both Nell and Naruto followed Yoruichi in cat form. Yoruichi them about today's world. And both Nell and Naruto listened with great interest. Both learned what was right and wrong by this world standards. Yoruichi somehow had got teacher glasses and a black graduation hat when telling Naruto and Nell all this. And when she was done she was even eating an apple at the end of it all. Both of their heads were spinning after it all. The next day Kitsukage told them that they were unable to stay there for long. He did supply them with gige so they can live in the human world. They would need money and working from them would not help them. And he told them that if Nell got a job, it would be a disaster. Naruto agreed. So Naruto got an idea and began writing. Within 1 week, Kitsukage had been selling Naruto's book all over town, 2 weeks all of Japan. And you get the idea in 3 weeks. Kitsukage had more mortal money than he can even count. Of course he would manage it for Naruto. Seeing as how the boy didn't know the first thing about money in today's world. Of course in exchange Kitsukage would handle any money-based arrangements that Naruto and Nell needed. So he got them an apartment for the two of them. Naruto and Nell not knowing that Kitsukage is being cheap. Yoruichi did and stretched him for it. But this brings us to Naruto's and Nell's current problem. You see, Kitsukage did not think ahead when he sent them to their new apartment. So naturally they got lost. They've been looking for this one place since they left, but they were so airheaded about it they couldn't find it, and now they couldn't find Kisukage's shop. And this jungle of buildings that always looked the same wasn't helping either. Oh man, we're such idiots. I can't believe we didn't ask Kitsukage before we left Nell. Nell was looking at herself in the window of a shop. It was scaring the kids inside as she was making strange faces. Come on Nell. We don't need to draw attention to ourselves. He said grabbing her hand and taking her away from the glass. Naruto and Nell wandered lost for a few minutes more, then Kami or someone else answered their unsaid praise when someone offered help. You do too need any help. You guys look lost. Naruto and Nell looked to their right and saw two young women. One had short black hair and was average height and build all around. Hi. The other one somewhat yelled. She had long orange hair with 2 blue hairpins in her hair. She had a smile on her face, like nothing could go wrong. It was refreshing to say the least. Yay. We could use some help. We're lost, this is our first time here in Karakura town. And we're a bit lost. Naruto said shyly. But Naruto covered Nell's mouth. This is our first time remember. Human wouldn't like us if we tell them otherwise. Oh right. Yep our first time. Nell says happily. The dark-haired one just raised an eyebrow, the other didn't. Well okay. Do you know where you need to go? The dark-haired one asked. Yes, the address is written on this piece of paper, we just forgot to ask for directions. Naruto said while both he and Nell were embarrassed. Well let me see. Naruto handed her the piece of paper. She looked at it. Well, this place is not hard. We're going the same way. We can show you. Really? Nell and Naruto asked at the same time. They are Tatsuki. The long-haired girl asked her friend. Now known as Tatsuki. NaruHarem. Thank you so much. We are in your department. Naruto said bowing. On the way there, Nell and NaruHarem began talking. Getting to know each other. In fact, Tatsuki was surprised to find someone as unique as NaruHarem. Naruto being the gentleman carried the bag of groceries for the girls. As a simple thanks for helping them. Naruto was a little afraid at first that the two girls wouldn't like them. But that ended when Nell and NaruHarem became fast friends. Talking to each other like they've known each other for years. When they got to their apartment complex, NaruHarem was happy to know that they were right next to her. Making both Nell and NaruHarem happy. Naruto was happy that they were happy. Do you two want to come over for dinner? NaruHarem asked. We don't want to impose. Naruto said politely. What's for dinner? Nell asked. Naruto knew that Nell was impulsive. Like his old self. Well. I'm making chicken ramen with pears, leeks and sushi. NaruHarem told them her weird dinner recipe. Wow that sounds good. Both Nell and Naruto had stars in their eyes. Tatsuki was taken back at first. No one really ate NaruHarem's cooking, other than her. No one else was brave enough. Alright, I have enough for everyone. Let's go Tatsuki. Nell, Naruto. She dragged Naruto and Tatsuki, and Nell followed them to her place. Her mouth watering at the mere thought of such foods. At the table Nell and NaruHarem was sitting to Naruto's right and Tatsuki was sitting to his left. Naruto, Nell and NaruHarem were eating the NaruHarem-made ramen, more like gulping it down. Tatsuki sweat drop. She never thought in her entire life that she'd find others brave as her. As night went on Naruto and Nell learned more about them. While NaruHarem and Tatsuki only learned about their likes, dislikes and other mundane stuff. It wasn't long before Naruto and Nell had to leave so they can get their own place in order. Tatsuki had to help them with the door lock. They settled in quite nicely. They spent a good amount of the night getting the place cleaned up. But when it was time for sleep, that cheap bastard Kitsukage only got them one bed. Well, since there is only one bed you can have it Nell. I'll sleep on the floor. Naruto was about to walk out when Nell yawned. I'm sleepy Naruto. She rubbed her eyes. Naruto. She looked at Naruto. who was passed out half on the bed, half off. Naruto. Oh no Naruto. Are you alright? She shook Naruto violently to wake him up. Only to find him snoring. She giggled. Oh well, can't be helped. She laid down on the bed with Naruto on top of her. Good night Naruto. She said happily. In case you're wondering how Naruto got knocked out. When Nell yawned she stretched out her arms and did a KO punch to Naruto's jaw. Next morning. Naruto was having a nice sleep. His sheets were soft. His pillows were soft too. The wind in his hair. It was just too perfect. Even the nice massaging fell of his pillow's heartbeats were nice. Naruto's eyes opened. Now that he was awake, he knew what the wind, sheets and pillows were. The wind was Nell's breath, very nice with cold mint and ocean breeze. The sheets. Well, some of them were sheets. Most not so much. The rest was Nell's naked skin. Her arms and legs were warped around him. All she had on were her bra and beep. But they didn't cover much. And his pillows with a heartbeat. You don't need to have an IQ of 5 to figure that out. Nell's nice big breast if you didn't know. Naruto tried to get out of bed. But Nell's super grip of doom prevented that. She even whispered. No leave me Naruto. Like she was afraid of Naruto leaving her. With no choice Naruto went back to sleep. It wasn't till much later that they heard some scratching at the window. When both looked at their window they saw Yoruichi. Did he? Nell Sanito to the window opened it and grabbed Yoruichi and started to pet her. Yoruichi didn't mind. I've come here to get you both. Kitsukage needs to talk to you too, so both of you can get used to this new life. Okay. Nell was rubbing her cheek into Yoruichi's fur. Sure. Naruto punched his palm. I own Kitsukage big time. Naruto had a smile that promised great pain. Yoruichi smiled herself. Hoping Naruto would do so. Anyway, follow me. I'll take you to Kitsukage's shop. Naruto and Nell happily followed her. Although, Nell doesn't know that the cat's a her yet. At the Soul Society. It was a full 2 weeks before the captains that Naruto had beaten were rested enough to report in. The vice captains a full 3 weeks. We find ourselves in the captain's meeting. Soi Fon, Kenpachi, the little white-haired kid and the quiet man were in front of an old guy with a cane. Now that you have recovered you can tell us how one hollow beat you for and your vice captains. Soi Fon, you shall begin as you are the one that called in this hollow. The old guy said looked at Soi Fon. Yes sir. I was with my new recruits training them in Karakura town when an unbelievable amount of spiritual pressure blanketed the whole town. Any human who was even the least bit sensitive to it would have felt it. She started. The old guy nodded for her to continue. I went to the center of this spiritual pressure only to find something I was not expecting. I saw what looked like a 16-year-old human boy and a little girl on his shoulders. He was wearing nothing but white, had blonde hair, blue eyes, and even had 2 zanpakutos. She stopped herself from saying 2 beautiful blue eyes. Do? Soi Fon looked at a captain who covered his head with a helmet. Yes 2. One was black, the other was blood red. When I felt his power I was shaken. His power towered over my own. But it wasn't tainted like a hollow, but it wasn't pure like a soul reaper. This confused all captains. What do you mean Captain Soi Fon? A gentle voice asked her. What I mean Captain Retsu is that this hollow had hollow and soul reaper spiritual pressure. She answered. Could it have been one of the criminals from 100 years ago? The captain of the 5th Division Aizen asked. No, this one was in perfect sick of his power. Perfectly controlled. Soi Fon answered. Continue Captain Soi Fon. No more questions till she's done. The old guy Captain Yamamoto tapped his cane on the ground to hush the captains. Yes sir. Well at first they were just looking around. Then I heard them. The older looking one was disappointed that it was nighttime in the human world. Every captain looked surprised. Then something that surprised me even more was when the little girl on his shoulder said. It is okay big brother. Nighttime here he's still prettier than nighttime at Hueco Mundo, they are hollows for sure. But don't act like it. Soi Fon took a breath. After they talked a bit. The little hollow said that she wanted to go to the water. We followed them. But the blonde hollow notices us. Soi Fon would never forget the gaze. He told us to come out. That is when I radioed for backup. Then he appeared in front of us. With speed I've never seen before. Not in me or any other captain. Ever. Soi Fon collected her thoughts. Thinking about what to say next. Something the matter Captain Soi Fon? The captain of the 3rd Division asked her. No nothing. We talked for a bit when he found us. I did it to stall for time and to get information out of him. To my surprise the little hollow looked like a little girl. No older than 8 human years old and yet she had a hollow mask fragment on her skull. Aizen the captain of the 5th Division his eyes widened. She acted like she was scared of soul reapers. I've never a hollow afraid of soul reapers before. Maybe they were trying to lure you in a false sense of security. The captain Aizen commented. Maybe, but moving one. The blonde hollow told me his name, saying. I have stopped being one of those mindless beasts for some time now. I was shocked. Then when he introduced himself. He said his name was Naruto Uzumaki when he was alive. Then this chilled me to the bone. He said he was once a Vastolord of Hueco Mundo. A Vastolord? Was he lying? The captain of the 13th division asked, shocked evident on his face. Based on his power, I'd say he was stronger. Kenpachi smiled or gave his super evil grin. Whatever you want to call it. Yamamoto nodded. Thank you, Captain Soi Fon. Any questions before we move on? They were only one. I have just one. Did he say what he was? If he had two Zanpakutos then he must have been a Should Reaper at one point. Aizen asked. He never said what he or the little girl was. But he said that they had evolved past the form of hollows. That they were something more than a mere hollow. His own words. Soi Fon answered him. I see, thank you. Aizen gave his normal smile. Now then. The rest of you will tell us what happened. Yamamoto told the other three captains. Each captain told the others what happened. How their vice captain was taken out, then they were. Until the story came back to Soi Fon. She was the last captain to see the hollow and the last to fight it. Then she too told them what happened to her. Soi Fon, after you were defeated, what happened? Yamamoto said. He walked up to me when I was on the ground. I told him to finish it as he was a monster. He raised his blade and stabbed the ground in front of my face. Then I passed out. But before that he said, get your comrades to that Soul Society place. Saying that they would die without medical attention. Like he was concerned about them or something. I see. We will keep an eye out for this hollow. If it surfaces again, no less than 8 captains are to engage it. I want no mistakes this time. Dismissed. The captain commander said. Kisuke's shop. You did what? Naruto yelled, shocked the foundation of the shop. Kisuke was on the floor with a lump on his head. You heard me. I enrolled you in the human high school. I thought you'd like it. It'll help you make new friends and… You should have asked us first. Naruto's foot was introduced to Kisuke's face. Naruto face-palmed himself. Oh man, I thought I was done with school when I died. Oh well. Naruto was thinking about it for a moment. There are a lot of pretty girls over at the high school. Kisuke said again. So? They wear uniforms. So? Nell will need a uniform. This got Naruto to raise an eyebrow. Then he was thinking about it. Thank you, Kisuke, for enrolling us in high school. Sorry about the little misunderstanding before. Naruto smiled as he picked up Kisuke and dusted him off. Now then, when do we start? Naruto smiled. Tomorrow. But I have everything you need here. Yoruichi laughed a bit. Nell was lost. But Yoruichi explained. Is high school fun? Nell asked. Oh, trust me. It can be. Kisuke held his fan in front of him. Oh, how right he is. Next morning. Naruto was in his school uniform and Nell was changing into hers. Although, she still didn't get today's human decorum. So she was changing in the living room. Naruto was looking away, him being a gentleman and all. At first she had trouble, but Yoruichi showed her how. Without turning into a beautiful woman that she is. On the way to school, Naruto was thinking. How did Nell become a ranker? A perfect one at that. But he could not find the answer. Nell's memories were still not back. So an answer will have to wait. Seeing as how they got to school. And everyone was eyeing them. Well, the girls eyeing him and the boys eyeing Nell. Well, eyeing her chest to be more precise. Some were drooling, others had nosebleeds. Naruto laughed to himself. Hey you. Naruto looked to his right. So did Nell. Yeah, you with the spiky blonde hair with the green-haired babe. Naruto noticed some guys that look like, oh, what's the word? Human thugs. Or schoolyard bullies. Yes. How can I help you? Naruto asked. Nell kept quiet. We don't like you kind of people sticking out with your hair color and style. Change it. The head thug said. A little ways away, Ichigo and some of his friends saw this and were about to intervene when. No. This is my nature hair color. Nell's hair color is nature too. Trying to change who we are and not wise. So, go bully someone who can't defend themselves. Like a child or a worm. Naruto laughed, so did some other kids all around them who saw this. Why you? For that, I'm going to take your girl when I beat you up. The thug wannabe and his lackeys would have run if they saw Naruto's face. Quicker than anyone could have blinked, Naruto beat them all into the ground. Now then. I hope that you all learned something from this. Rule number 1. I'm number 1. Rule number 2. Nell's hot. Rule number 3. You're an idiot. Naruto said, moving on. I buy wired guys who got beat up by Naruto. Nell said in her childish tone. Naruto, wait for me. She ran, which caused her breast to bounce a bit. Much to all the guys' delight. Then they got a slap from the nearest female. Hey Ichigo. I think we found your long-lost brother. A tall dark-skinned guy said to his spiky-haired friend. Yay, maybe. Naruto followed a teacher that took them to their classroom. It was sheer luck that Naruto and Nell had the same classroom and classes. Or not, but they didn't care. It was still a while until class started, but already this was going to be fun. Why, you may ask? This is why. Harem. A girl yelled and started to fondle Nell's chest. Why, Harem, your chest has gotten bigger, I think. Nell looked lost as to why her beep were being fondled and Naruto was holding his nosebleed. Nell just blinked a few times. Hey Chizuru. That's not NaruHarem. The girl now named Chizuru looked behind her to see Tatsuki and NaruHarem. But that can't be. No one had beep this big but my Harem. She turned the girl around to see Nell's face. Hi. My name is NarutoxBleach. But you can call me Nell for short. Is that how you greet people here? Nell asked. Not knowing that she was just molested. And my name's Naruto Uzumaki. Best friend of the person you just introduced yourself to. Naruto greeting her. NaruHarem. Nell. NaruHarem and Nell hugged each other and started bouncing up and down in a circle. I haven't seen you in ages. Nell said. It's only been a day, silly. NaruHarem said back. Everyone was shocked. But none more so than Chizuru. But she was looking at the beep of the two bouncing up and down touching each other. She got a nosebleed and passed out. I didn't know that you two were going to high school with us. Tatsuki looked at Naruto. We didn't either. We got enrolled yesterday. Naruto said dismissively. Class started and was dull to say the least. Nell asked question till doomsday and annoyed the teacher. But the teacher was thankful that one of her new students was so eager to learn. When it was lunch, Naruto and Nell were going to walk out when NaruHarem stopped them. Nell, Naruto, do you guys have anything to eat for lunch? Lunch? Is that anything like dinner? Nell asked, still getting used to the human world. Yay, it's just like dinner but earlier. NaruHarem said happily. Wow. This place is great. Nell had stars in her eyes. Let's go to the roof. NaruHarem and Nell dragged Naruto and Tatsuki with them. At the roof already were Ichigo and his friends. Hey Ichigo. Tatsuki hollered at them. Hey Ichigo looked at the blonde kid. Hey, you're that guy that beat all those other guys today. Ichigo said. Yep, that's me, name's Naruto Uzumaki, and this is my friend for as long as I can remember. NarutoxBleach. Nell for short. Hi. She greeted happily. We just transferred here today. Getting used to this place and all is hard. Naruto rubbed his head. Well, anyway, we'll get used to it someday. So NaruHarem, what did you make for lunch? Nell asked NaruHarem. Well, I made ramen with pickle relish, cheese, eggs, and I even added pizza. Everyone had despair marks. Her lunch sounded gross. Nell and Naruto had stars in their eyes. Wow, that sounds great. They both said. Everyone sweat drop. Even more so when they finished the bowl that NaruHarem gave them in seconds. Wow, NaruHarem, you're cooking to kill for. Naruto said happily. Yay, mine and Naruto's cooking can't compare. Nell said, hugging her new friend NaruHarem. NaruHarem just giggled. Chizuru was furious. And everyone else but Naruto thought. Is this NaruHarem's long-lost twin sister? In fact, NaruHarem and Nell acted like close sisters. Even more so when they agreed with everything the other said. Food and other this. Naruto thought that Nell was addicted to NaruHarem's cooking, not that he could blame her. But it was nice to see Nell making fast friends with her. Oh, let the formal introductions be underway. Again, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, and my cute friend over there hugging NaruHarem is NarutoxBleach. What's yours? Naruto asked. Oh. My name is Tatsuki. I'm a friend of NaruHarem. And slayer of all cats in heat. She looked at Chizuru. Name's Chad. The tall Mexican said in his normal voice. My name is Ichigo Kurosaki. The orange top said. You know, I get the feeling that we'll all be good friends. Naruto smiled. His smile gave all of them the creeps for one reason or another. But the main thing was, he's right. They'll make great friends. If Nell and NaruHarem were anything to go by. After school they headed to Kisuke's place. Naruto he didn't want to, but Nell was out of fighting shape. She would need retraining if she was going to fend off the strong soul reapers that will come for them one day. Naruto wasn't worried, as long as he was there, she would be safe. But he always planned for the big what if, so that's what he's going to do. Hey, fan man. You here? Naruto asked, opening the door. Hey, can't you knock? The little kid yelled. No. Now, where is fan man? Naruto asked. I'm right here, Naruto. Pity. Nell ran after Yoruichi and caught her. Naruto sighed. Again, sorry. Yoruichi, change so we can train Nell. Fine. Yoruichi changed into her hot human form. But Nell was still petting Yoruichi. Take a guess and where Nell's head was rubbing. She was rubbing Yoruichi's breast. Hi boys. Yoruichi said in her naked hot form. Nell looked confused at the cat she was petting. She then poked Yoruichi's left breast. What's this? Naruto and Kitsukage had butted the roof with a rocket fuel known as blood from their noses. Both of them passed out. "Oh no, Naruto. Are you alright? Your nose is bleeding." Nell shook Naruto violently, trying to revive him. It wasn't working. About an hour later in the training field under the shop. Nell was in her old Espada uniform. Some of her memories had returned while doing so light training. But mainly how to fight. Nothing other than that. Naruto thanked whatever god that answered that praise for that. "Say, Naruto, exactly how strong are you?" Kitsukage asked. "The only way to truly know that is to fight me. But very few people have ever made me fight without holding back almost all of my power. But, I don't mind showing you 4 levels of my power. But I warn you. It could get overwhelming." Naruto looked at him. His eyes telling Kitsukage everything. "I see. But no guts, no glory." Kitsukage smiled. "Nell, Yoruichi. Get off the field. I'm going to release a great amount of power. You don't want to be moving at your speeds when I do." Nell and Yoruichi had been sparring for over an hour to get Nell back in fighting shape. Nell nodded first and went to Kisukage's side. She had seen him use Shikai. But none higher. Yoruichi nodded for her to come back as well. Naruto was a good ways away in the air. "Now then. Since I know you watched that fight with those Soul Reapers a while back, I know you've seen me use Kido and the Hollow's trademark Zero. Then you saw me draw my black Zanpakuto. Then you say me use what you Soul Reapers call Shikai." Naruto took a breath. Naruto looked at them in the eyes. "I'll show you a little more of my power now." Naruto drew his blade. "Without my Zanpakuto, I'm using only about 4% of my power. With her, I'm using 10%. Naruto raised his blade. "Now devastate and despair, forbidden angel." Naruto unlocked his Shikai. The black energy flooded the training ground. "With my Shikai, I'm using 20% of my power." Yoruichi and Kitsukage began to wonder. If this was only a fifth of his power, they could safely bet that old man Yamamoto stood no chance against Naruto at full power. Hell, no one could. "And now I'll only show you one more power-up. As any more would break though the barrier and bring the Soul Reapers on our heads." Naruto reached up to the top left of his head. And in a very visored-like fashion, put on a hollow mask. The mask looked like a fox skull. "This is 45% of my power. In all of my 1000 years of living in Hueco Mundo, no one, be it Hollow, Soul Reaper or otherwise, has ever seen past this point of my power. I never use this much because Nell fears it." Naruto took off his mask. Put his sword away and landed near them. Nell hugged him instantly. Crying a bit. Kitsukage and Yoruichi were beyond scared of Naruto now. That was less than half of his power and it towered over anyone one they know. Only old man Yamamoto could say he could stand up to that and believe himself saying it. "I'm sorry, Nell. I hope you never have to see me wear that mask again." Naruto comforted Nell. Naruto gave Kitsukage and Yoruichi a look that said it was a story for another time. "I think that's enough for today, Kitsukage. Hot stuff. Nell and I have a dinner date with NaruHarem." "Dinner?" Nell lost her sadness at the sound of NaruHarem and dinner. Both Naruto and Nell left Yoruichi and Kitsukage to their thoughts. He hoped that they both didn't fear him on the level of not wanting to talk outside of business. "So what do you think?" Kitsukage asked Yoruichi. "I think that was totally hot," she yelled. "You know me, Kitsukage. Always a sucker for strong men. That's why I never went out on a date with you." Kitsukage went instant depressed mode. Huddled in a corner with despair marks and ice. "Oh, that's cold, Yoruichi. Oh, how my soul is forever destroyed." He had tears. With Naruto and Nell at NaruHarem's place. NaruHarem made a very strange dish for dinner to a normal person. To Naruto and Nell, she was a cooking goddess made flesh. Kitsukage smiled before she left for home. Seeing as NaruHarem had at least a few others in her life. The night went on and Nell was passed out on the sofa. NaruHarem yawned and Naruto was tried as well. That is when Naruto noticed a picture of a young man on the shelf. "NaruHarem, who is that?" Naruto pointed at the picture. NaruHarem instantly became sad. Naruto noticed this. "I'm sorry, NaruHarem, if you don't want to talk about it, I understand." "No, I guess it's time to talk about it." Naruto saw something that was a crime against nature. He saw NaruHarem shed a tear. "Years ago, Sora, my brother, and I were in a car accident. He was badly hurt, but he still worried about me over himself. So he carried me on his back." She began to cry even more now. "We made it to a nearby clinic, but they couldn't help my brother. They didn't have what my brother needed. I was fine in comparison. But he wasn't. He died just moments before the ambulance came to help him." NaruHarem began to cry a river. That stopped when Naruto hugged her and Nell hugged her from behind. Nell had woken up during NaruHarem's story. She too was crying from it. "Don't worry, NaruHarem, I'll be your brother from now on," Naruto said quietly in her left ear. "And I'll be your sister from now on," Nell said in her right ear. NaruHarem cried again. But she was happy now. She had a family again. The next morning Naruto talked to the manager about merging the two rooms. He agreed as long as Naruto paid for it and paid him. He agreed. Naruto had so much money not even he knew how much he had. Before he went to sleep Naruto felt a few hollows in the area. But he knew that those Souls Reapers guys would take care of some low-level hollow. Although there was news broadcast about some explosion, Naruto paid no mind to it. That day at school was just getting to know Ichigo and his friends. He knew NaruHarem already. Well as one person can know another in such a short amount of time. But he had felt NaruHarem's pain just from listening to her story. He and Nell took on the role of siblings to her. And as a good big brother and sister they will protect her. As best as they can. But today was enlightening for Naruto. He had felt Ichigo's power. He was unable to control it like him when he was younger and alive. But what intrigued him more was that he had the power of a Soul Reaper captain, well, almost. It would take a while and hard training if Ichigo ever became a Soul Reaper or Hollow before he could do that. He put it out of his mind for now. Nell was enjoying her lunch that NaruHarem made. They had a deal. NaruHarem would cook and buy the food. Naruto would pay for it. Simple really. At night Naruto felt a Hollow attacking a soul. He would have interfered but he also felt a Soul Reaper there as well. But he could not just do nothing. Sorry girls. I'll be back as soon as I can. Naruto told Nell and NaruHarem as they were playing a card game that NaruHarem made up. Something he thought he heard NaruHarem call Uno-jin. Or something like that. But Ichigo fighting his first Hollow. Naruto had just arrived to see Ichigo get his Soul Reaper powers from Rukia. Well that's interesting. He said to himself. You'll pay for hurting my family you Hollow scum. Ichigo said threateningly to the Hollow. The weak no name by Naruto's point of view. Feel the wrath of my blade. Ichigo cut off an arm. It roared in pain. Then he cut off a leg. Again it roared in pain. Now die. Ichigo then cut it from top to bottom. He had killed it. Not bad Ichigo, I do not believe in fate or anything like that. This one moment has changed the wheels that turn this world. This one action by that Soul Reaper, he looked at Rukia. He didn't know her name or anything. Has caused a change in this world. Whether it is a good change or a bad change is yet to be seen. Ichigo, I see how NaruHarem looks at you. I will not let you two make the same mistake I did in life. You will change the spirit world Ichigo. I can feel it. Naruto said to himself as he saw Kitsukage walk up to Rukia. Well anyway Ichigo. I hope this works out for you in the end. I wonder was I meant to be here as well? Was I meant to find Nell, she dragged me here, then I in turn meet you down the line. Naruto looked at Ichigo one last time before heading back to his place. Ichigo will shape the face of this world. He could feel it. So this part ends here. Alright that's it for today's video guys, let me know in the comments section how was the story and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video, bye bye.